The princess no one wanted. The night sky over Leora 7, a quiet human colony on the edge of the galaxy, was calm until it wasn't. A bright streak of fire tore through the atmosphere. People looked up. Children pointed. Alarms started ringing. A spaceship, broken and burning, crashed into the rocky hills just outside the colony walls. The crash shook the ground. Security forces rushed out. Drones scanned the area. Families watched from their windows, holding their breath. Then the ship door opened. Smoke poured out. The crowd gasped as a figure stepped down from the flames. She was tall and thin, her silver skin glowing faintly under the moonlight. Her long white hair floated around her like mist. Her eyes, large and violet, were filled with pain, but also pride. She raised her hand slowly. "I mean no harm." No one spoke. No one moved. "Alien life form. Hands up," a human soldier shouted. The girl didn't move. She looked too weak to run, too tired to fight. That's when Eli Ward, a 19-year-old mechanic, pushed through the crowd. His hands were black with engine oil. He looked at the alien girl, not with fear, but with curiosity. "She's hurt," he said. "She needs help." "Step back, citizen," a soldier snapped. But Eli didn't step back. He walked closer. "She's not attacking. She didn't crash a warship. That thing barely flew." A commander stepped forward. "She's not human. She could be a threat." The alien girl fell to her knees. She looked up at Eli. "I have nowhere to go." Her voice was soft, broken. Eli made a choice in that moment, a crazy one. He helped her to her feet and whispered, "Come with me." "Now." The soldiers shouted. The girl leaned on Eli. Together, they vanished into the shadows of the colony's lower levels. Eli's workshop was hidden beneath an old hangar. Broken droids, engines, and scrap metal covered the place. He laid the girl gently on a metal table. "What's your name?" he asked. She hesitated. "Kayla." He gave her a blanket. "Kayla, what happened up there?" Kayla looked away. "My ship was shot down. I escaped from my people." "Why?" "I was a princess once. Now I am nothing." Eli blinked. "A princess." Kayla nodded. "They called me a traitor, said I betrayed my own kind. But I only tried to stop a war." Her voice trembled. "They want me dead." Eli sat down. His heart beat faster. "Why would your own people hunt you?" "Because I told the truth," Kayla said. "And the truth is dangerous." She coughed. Her silver skin flickered, like it was losing energy. Eli brought her water. She drank it like she hadn't in days. "Why did you help me?" she asked. Eli shrugged. "You looked alone, scared. And human or not, no one deserves to be hunted like that." Kayla looked at him closely. "You are not like the others." He smiled. "Yeah, I get that a lot." Outside, things were getting worse. The colony's security set up checkpoints. They searched homes, scanned ships, and questioned everyone. Rumors spread. "The alien's dangerous. She has powers. She's here to spy for an invasion." But no one knew the truth. Back in the workshop, Kayla's body began to glow faintly. Eli stared in awe. Her skin shimmered like stars. "I have a secret," she whispered, "inside me. I carry something they want. Something powerful." "What is it?" She touched her chest. "A royal crystal. A core of knowledge and energy. It can bring peace or destroy worlds." Eli stood. "And they think you'll use it against them." "No," she said. "They know I won't. That's why they fear me." Suddenly, the lights in the workshop flickered. A loud noise echoed from above. Kayla's eyes widened. "They found me." Eli ran to the door. Drones buzzed outside. Someone was close. He turned to Kayla. "Can you move?" She nodded weakly. Eli helped her up. "We're not done yet, princess. If you've got a crystal that powerful and a story that big, then maybe it's time we show them who you really are. Kayla looked at him, unsure. You believe in me? Eli met her eyes. Yeah, I do. Outside, shadows moved. Soldiers whispered into radios. The hunt had begun. But now, the princess wasn't alone. Eli's risk. The sound of boots echoed in the alley outside. Eli held his breath. He stood in the darkness of his workshop, his hand gripping a heavy wrench. Beside him, Kayla sat hidden behind a tall stack of broken droids, her silver skin glowing faintly in the shadows. Her eyes were wide, but calm. She didn't flinch. Outside, the colony patrols were getting closer. Scan everything, a voice ordered. She's in this sector. Eli's heart pounded in his chest. His hands felt cold, but his jaw was tight. He had only known Kayla for one night. One strange, terrifying, unforgettable night. And now he was risking everything, his safety, his job, even his life, to hide her. Why? Because in her eyes, he didn't see a threat. He saw someone who had lost everything. Someone who still stood with pride. Someone who deserved a second chance. The patrol passed by. Eli waited in silence until their footsteps faded into the distance. Then he turned to Kayla. We need to move you somewhere safer. I can stay here, she said quietly. I do not want you hurt because of me. Too late, Eli muttered. They're already scanning every building. Kayla looked down. You could turn me in. They'll reward you. A new ship. A new home. Eli gave a dry laugh. Yeah, sure. And what? Let them lock you in a cage or worse. No thanks. She tilted her head, studying him. You're strange. For a human. You're not the first to say that, Eli said, grabbing his jacket. He opened a hidden panel in the floor and pulled out a dusty blanket and a small energy pack. Come on. You're freezing. He wrapped the blanket around her. As he powered up a small heater, Kayla shivered and leaned closer. It's warm, she whispered. Thank you. Don't mention it. She looked around his workshop. You live here? More or less, Eli said. Built half of this stuff myself. Fixed the other half. Colony life's not exactly luxury. Kayla gently touched a broken drone. Your machines. They speak to you. Eli raised an eyebrow. You can tell that just by looking. She nodded. I feel energy. Patterns. Connections. Your hands are kind. Eli felt a strange warmth rise in his chest. He shook his head, trying to hide a smile. I've been called a lot of things, but never that. As the night deepened, Eli locked down the workshop doors. Kayla ate quietly, some heated rations and water. She didn't complain. She moved like someone trained in control. Every motion was calm, precise. But behind her stillness, Eli saw a storm. Later, she sat across from him on a crate, watching the heater flame dance. He finally asked the question that had been burning in his mind. What happened to your family? Kayla didn't speak at first. Then her voice, soft and slow, filled the room. My father was King Vale, a just ruler. He believed in peace, in trade, in sharing knowledge with the stars. Eli nodded. Sounds like a good man. He was. That's why he was killed. Eli leaned in. My uncle, Lord Theron, hated the humans. He wanted war. He said your kind would betray us. He poisoned the council against my father, then took his life during a peace summit. Eli's eyes widened. Kayla continued. I tried to stop it. I warned others. I begged them to stand with me. But they called me a traitor, said I was weak, brainwashed by humans. And that's why you ran. She nodded. I stole a ship. I knew I had to find someone. Anyone who would listen. I didn't expect this place. Eli rubbed his face. Damn. So your own people are after you. Yes. And they won't stop. Just then, The workbench screen blinked. Eli's eye assistant, a floating metal orb named Pix, zipped out from a charging port. "Eli," it said, "Colony Command has issued a bounty. High level." Pix projected a hologram in the air. Kayla's image floated above them. A line of alien text scrolled beside it. Eli couldn't read it, but he understood one word clearly. "Wanted." "Dead or alive?" Eli asked. Pix beeped. "Doesn't say. But I guess they're not looking to bring her tea." Kayla stared at the image in silence. Then she looked at Eli. "You can still turn me in," she said again. "Your people are afraid." Eli stood slowly. "My people built this colony on a dead rock. You know how. We believed in second chances, in survival. We don't throw someone away just because they're different." He looked her in the eyes. "You don't have to trust me, but I'm not leaving you behind." Kayla's lips parted. She almost smiled, but her eyes shimmered instead. "Then I trust you," Eli warned. But not everyone trusted Eli. That night, someone saw him moving through the alley with Kayla. A miner named Griggs, bitter and angry, watched from the shadows. His family had fought in the human-Reverie conflict years ago. He hated all aliens. He didn't know who Kayla really was, but he knew she didn't belong. He sent a message, one that would bring danger straight to Eli's door. Back at the workshop, Kayla touched the glowing jewel embedded near her collarbone. "If they take me, they'll take this," she whispered. Eli looked at the crystal. It pulsed softly, like a heartbeat. "What is it really?" he asked. "It's more than power," she replied. "It's history, memory, a guide for the future." She looked at him with fear for the first time. "If it falls into the wrong hands, your world will burn too." Eli clenched his fists. "Then we make sure that never happens." Outside, the colony lights flickered. Above the planet, a sleek black ship entered orbit, silent, fast, and deadly. The real hunters had arrived. And they were coming for the princess no one wanted. The hunters arrive. Silence fell over Leora 7 in the early hours, but above the planet, something dark was already watching. A ship, black as the void and shaped like a blade, hovered just beyond the colony's radar. It did not broadcast signals. It did not ask for permission to land. It simply waited, silent, cold, and alive. Inside, 3 figures stood in the command chamber, wrapped in shadow and steel. They were called the Krell. Mercenaries. No, bounty hunters. Worse. The Krell hunted for power, not money. And this time, they were hunting the last daughter of the Reverie throne, Princess Kayla. Down below, Eli had no idea what was coming. He was too busy trying to fix an old hoverbike. "It's slow," Kayla said, watching him from a metal bench. "It's reliable," Eli replied, tightening a bolt. "Besides, fast ships draw attention. This one's like an old man limping through traffic. Nobody notices it." Kayla gave him a soft look. "And yet you're risking everything to help me. Why?" Eli paused, then shrugged. "I don't know. Maybe because you asked for help instead of demanding it." Kayla smiled, the first real smile since she crashed on the planet. Then suddenly, the air felt colder. Pix, the small eye orb, floated into the room fast. "Eli, we've got a problem." Eli looked up. "What kind of problem?" Pix beeped nervously. A new ship entered orbit. Stealth class. Not on any registry. Kayla stood. Her voice dropped. "Is it Reverie?" Pix paused. "I don't think so. This is something else. Something worse." Kayla's face went pale. "The Krell." Eli frowned. "Who the hell are the Krell?" Kayla's answer was quiet and terrifying. "They don't take prisoners. They don't follow laws. They're weapons, wearing flesh." In orbit, the Krell activated their scanners. One spoke in a low, clicking voice. "She carries the crystal core. We trace the energy. Her location is near Sector 13. The other nodded. Initiate descent. The ship turned like a shadow swimming through light and began to descend toward Leora 7. On the colony's surface, Eli grabbed his gear. Pix prepped the hoverbike. Already on it. Kayla looked toward the darkening sky. They'll find me no matter where I go. You can still walk away. Eli slung a small pack over his shoulder. You keep offering that, and I keep saying no. You could die. So could you. He stepped closer, his voice firm. But I didn't pull you out of the fire just to watch you burn now. Kayla blinked, emotion flickering behind her glowing violet eyes. Then we move, she said. Now. They rode the hoverbike into the canyon pass beyond the colony. Rocks rose on both sides. It was a place of silence, long abandoned by miners. Dust blew across the ground like whispers. Here, Eli had hidden a backup shelter years ago, an old cargo pod buried under stone. As they arrived, Pix buzzed. Tracking signatures incoming. 5 minutes. Fast approach. And, armed. Eli opened the shelter doors. Kayla stepped inside, her eyes scanning. This will not hold them for long. It doesn't have to, Eli said, locking the entrance. It just has to slow them down. He handed Kayla a small metal device. Energy disruptor. Short range. Only use it if they get too close. What about you? Eli smirked. I've got a bigger one. And then they came. The Krell landed without sound. 3 shadows stepped through the dust and heat. They didn't speak. They didn't knock. They simply tore the shelter doors off with brutal force. Eli fired first. A homemade pulse blaster lit up the cave. 1 Krell staggered, armor sparking, but didn't fall. Kayla pressed her hand to the air. Boom! A shockwave burst from her palm, sending a 2nd Krell into the rocks. But the 3rd moved like a ghost, too fast. He grabbed Eli by the collar and slammed him into the wall. Where is the princess? The Krell hissed in a voice like grinding metal. Eli groaned, spit blood, and smiled. Guess. Kayla stepped into the open, her hands glowing bright blue now. You want the crystal, she said. Come take it. The Krell lunged, only to be blasted back by a sudden flare of light from Kayla's chest. Her eyes glowed brighter, her hair floating as energy poured from her body. I am not your prey, she said. She wasn't hiding anymore. In one final burst, Kayla unleashed a sphere of energy. The Krell were thrown into the air like paper in a storm. Eli shielded his eyes as the shelter shook, walls cracking, metal melting. When the light faded, 2 Krell were unconscious. But 1 remained, badly hurt, still crawling. He whispered something into a small device and vanished in a blink of green light. Kayla's energy dimmed. She collapsed to her knees, breathing hard. Eli ran to her. Kayla. I'm okay, she whispered, but they'll tell the others. More will come. Eli helped her up. Then we need to leave this planet. Kayla nodded weakly. But we can't run forever. They'll never stop. Eli looked out at the rising sun. No, but maybe it's time we stop hiding. He turned to her. You said the crystal holds history, right? Maybe it's time we show the galaxy the truth. Kayla looked at him. You mean, tell the Human Council? Eli nodded. If we're going to survive, we need help. Real help. And they need to hear it from you. Kayla took a deep breath. Then let's make them listen. Above the clouds, the damaged Krell ship vanished into hyperspace, sending one final signal across the stars. Target located. Core confirmed. Prepare the fleet. And far away, a dark empire stirred. Truth of the princess. The stars above Leora 7 were fading into daylight, but the truth Kayla carried had no dawn, only shadows. Inside a dusty cave overlooking the dead canyons, she stood silent, her hands shaking faintly as she faced the only human who hadn't turned away. Eli stared at her, not with fear, but with quiet patience. "You said the crystal holds more than power," he said. "I think it's time you showed me." Kayla didn't answer right away. Instead, she walked to the edge of the rocky ledge, looking out into the endless horizon. The wind picked up her white hair like ribbons of light. "There is something you must understand," she said softly. "The core is not a weapon. It is memory, living memory." She turned toward him, placing her hand on the small glowing gem embedded near her collarbone. "Come closer." Eli hesitated but stepped forward. Kayla reached out, and before he could react, she touched his forehead with her fingers. In an instant, the world vanished. FLASHBACK. Inside the core. Eli stood in a different place, not the rocky wasteland, not Leora 7. He was inside a grand palace made of silver and glass, floating in the clouds above a green world. He saw Kayla, but younger, smiling, dressed in royal robes. Her father, King Vale, sat on a high throne, addressing a council filled with strange alien leaders. His voice was calm and wise. "The humans offer peace," he said. "They seek trade, understanding. Let us not repeat the wars of the past." But murmurs of distrust rose around the room. Then Eli saw Lord Theron, Kayla's uncle, tall, proud, his eyes sharp and full of quiet hatred. "Peace is weakness," Theron said. "They will use our kindness to invade us." Kayla stood beside her father, clutching a book, ancient Reverie law. "We must not rule with fear." But her words fell on deaf ears. Days passed. In the visions, Eli saw Kayla speaking to leaders, trying to stop growing unrest. Then, the betrayal. King Vale, poisoned at a feast. Guards surrounding Kayla in her chambers. "You are under arrest, charged with treason." "No," she screamed. "You know the truth. My uncle, they struck her down. She barely escaped with her life. And she took the core with her. The last piece of her father's wisdom. The only evidence that could reveal what really happened." BACKTUGOPQRESANT. Eli gasped as the vision faded. He stumbled back, breathing hard. That was real. Kayla nodded. Her eyes shimmered with pain. "The core stores what I've seen, what I know. It is my voice, when no one else will listen. And your people don't know. They only know what Theron told them. That I betrayed the throne. That I ran to the humans to sell our secrets." Eli stared at her. "And they believe that." Kayla looked down. Fear is stronger than truth, at least, at first. They sat in silence for a while. Then Kayla asked, "Do you think your council will listen?" Eli hesitated. "They'll be cautious. Some will fear you. Some might even want to hand you over to avoid conflict." "But what if I show them the truth?" she asked. "Let them see the core's memories, like you did." Eli looked at her. "Then maybe they'll believe you. Maybe they'll see what I see." Kayla tilted her head. "And what is that?" "That you're not just a princess," he said. "You're a survivor. And maybe a leader." She looked away, her voice trembling. "I don't know if I want to lead." "Maybe not," Eli replied. "But I think people need someone who can." Later that night, they made camp near the old canyon ridge. Kayla stared up at the stars, lost in thought. "Do you know what the stars mean to my people?" she asked. "No," Eli said, watching her. "They're not just lights. Each one tells a story. We used to say that when a Reverie dies, their soul becomes a star, burning forever." Eli smiled gently. "Sounds better than how humans explain it. We just call them gas and heat." Kayla chuckled for the first time. A real laugh. Small, but real. Then her voice grew serious again. "When I escaped, I promised my father I would keep the core safe. But now I wonder, maybe safety is not enough. Maybe I must use it. To expose the truth," Eli said. "To change everything," she whispered. As they rested, pics floated nearby, scanning frequencies. Suddenly, it buzzed sharply. Eli. Eli sat up. What is it? Pix projected a message from Colony Central. Emergency notice. Unidentified alien forces destroyed a supply station in orbit. Multiple casualties. Unknown motive. All ships grounded. Human Council preparing for emergency session. Kayla stood slowly. They're coming faster than I thought. Eli's face hardened. Then we don't wait for them. We go to the council. We tell them everything. Kayla nodded. And deep in her chest, the core crystal pulsed brighter than ever before. Far away, on a warship made of black alloy and crimson light, Lord Theron stood before a massive screen. He watched a recording of Kayla's energy burst from the shelter battle. She's alive, he said coldly. His advisor nodded. And with a human. Theron narrowed his eyes. Prepare the fleet. If the humans will not give her up, we take her. He stepped forward, staring into space. She thinks she can reveal the truth, but truth means nothing if no one survives to hear it. Betrayal and battle. The human sky never stayed still. Clouds drifted like ghosts above Leora 7 as the sun began to rise over the jagged cliffs. But deep in the ground below, in a quiet corner of a dead canyon, something darker was moving. Kayla sat alone, her back against a rock, the wind teasing strands of her white hair. Her eyes were open but distant, locked on nothing. The core crystal on her chest glowed gently. She looked peaceful, but peace was a lie. Inside her, a storm was waking. In the cave nearby, Eli was arguing with someone, his old friend, Ronan Vex. You're out of your mind, Eli. Ronan shouted. You're hiding her. That alien princess. There's a bounty on her head the size of a star freighter. Eli kept his voice low. She's not a threat. You didn't see what I saw. She's Revari. Ronan snapped. They killed thousands of our people during the last border war. She tried to stop that war, Eli said firmly. Her own people turned on her because she believed in peace. Ronan shook his head. Doesn't matter. You're risking all our lives. The colony's on lockdown. Ships can't leave. We're trapped here, and now we got her. The one everyone's hunting, hiding in our backyard. Pix hovered nearby, its blinking red light flashing. Eli. Incoming transmission. Emergency level. Eli turned. Put it through. A voice echoed through the chamber. Unknown enemy ships detected entering Leora 7's orbit. Estimated landing. 1 hour. Defense systems offline. All citizens report to shelters. Kayla walked in just as the message ended. They're here, she said calmly. Eli looked at her. Theron. She nodded. He won't stop until he has the core. And me. Ronan stared at her, then slowly backed away. I have to tell the others, he muttered. They need to know what you brought down on us. Eli stepped in front of him. You tell them now. She's dead. And we're next. Ronan's jaw clenched. His eyes were full of fear and hate. He turned and stormed out of the cave. Kayla watched him leave. There will always be people who fear what they don't understand, she said. Eli looked out toward the rising smoke in the distance. Let them fear, he said. As long as they're still alive to learn the truth later. But by the time Ronan reached the colony, his fear had already grown into something worse. Anger. He didn't just tell the truth. He sold it. Above the colony, the Krell ship descended like a claw, ripping through the clouds. Troop pods dropped from its belly, silent black domes that slammed into the ground, cracking stone and sending shockwaves through buildings. The panic began immediately. Sirens screamed. Lights flickered. The colony walls lit up with red scanners and auto turrets, but none of it mattered. The enemy wasn't here to talk. They were here to hunt. In the canyon, Eli and Kayla heard the first blasts in the distance. Pix spun in circles. They're attacking the outer sectors. Colony defenses are failing. Eli pulled open a metal case. Inside, a heavy rifle, 2 flash grenades, and a long-range transmitter. "We can't wait anymore," he said. "We need to get you to the council building. Let you speak. Let them see." Kayla stepped forward. "Even if they listen, even if they believe, can we stop Theron?" "I don't know," Eli said. "But I know we don't stand a chance hiding down here." They climbed onto the hoverbike, and with a loud blast of dust, they raced back toward the colony. But someone was already waiting for them. As they entered the outer rim, a power surge hit the bike. Zap! Eli lost control. The vehicle spun out and crashed into the sand. From behind a broken pillar, Ronan stepped forward, a remote jammer in his hand. "You made the wrong choice, Eli," he said. "I warned you." Eli stood, furious. "You sold us out." "I told the truth," Ronan spat. "She's dangerous. They said they'd spare us if I gave her up." "They lied," Eli shouted. "You think Theron leaves anyone alive after this?" Kayla stepped forward, calm but glowing. "You chose fear over faith," she said. Ronan raised a blaster. "Don't come any closer." Kayla didn't stop. The core flared, bright blue light surrounding her like a shield. The blaster shook in Ronan's hand. "I'm not your enemy," she said softly. Then, from behind, a Krell warrior dropped from the cliffs above. Slam! Ronan was tackled to the ground, screaming. Eli pulled Kayla back just in time. The warrior turned, eyes like burning coals, his blade hissing to life. Kayla lifted her hand. Boom! A wave of energy exploded from her palm, launching the Krell back into a metal wall. Eli dragged Ronan behind cover. "You still think they'll spare you?" he asked. Ronan stared in horror. "They promised. They lie, Ronan. That's all they do." More Krell warriors appeared, emerging from dust and smoke. Kayla stood between them and the humans. Her core burned like a star. Then came her voice. Not loud, but clear. "I will not run anymore." She raised both hands. The ground beneath her shook. Rocks lifted into the air. Sparks of energy spun in spirals. And then, CRACK, a beam of blue light shot into the sky, a signal flare made of raw power. A message to anyone watching. The princess was no longer hiding. Inside the human council tower, across the planet, a young officer saw the light on the satellite feed. He turned to his commander. "We found her. And she's fighting for us." The commander stared at the screen. "Get her here," he said. Now, far above, on his command ship, Lord Theron watched the same blue light rise like a sword into the heavens. He didn't flinch. "Let her shine," he said. "Stars burn brightest just before they die." He pointed forward. "Launch all forces. Wipe the colony clean." The choice of humanity. The city lights of Nexum Prime, capital of the human colonies, flickered beneath the smoke of rising fear. Emergency broadcasts lit up every screen. Revari warships entering Earth sector. Orbital station destroyed. Human council preparing final vote. Inside the council tower, a tall black spire rising like a needle from the heart of the city. Soldiers marched through marble halls, weapons ready. Leaders argue behind closed doors, their voices sharp, their faces pale. And in the center of it all, stood an alien princess with glowing silver skin, flanked by a human boy covered in dust and blood. Kayla and Eli had arrived. But getting here hadn't been easy. They had fought their way out of the canyon. Lost friends. Escaped in ambush. Watched the skies darken with Revari ships. Eli had driven the stolen land cruiser through collapsing roads and laser fire, Kayla shielding them with energy bursts as drones screamed overhead. By the time they reached Nexum Prime, both of them could barely stand. Now, Kayla stood in front of the most powerful humans in the galaxy. Alone. The council chamber was a ring of steel and glass. 12 counselors sat in black chairs shaped like thrones. Lights above them flickered. Behind them, a massive screen showed live feeds, Reverie ships in orbit, human colonies burning, people running. The room smelled of fear. The chief counselor, a tall man named Marrow, stared at Kayla. "You are the daughter of the Reverie Empire," he said coldly. Kayla didn't blink. "I am the daughter of peace. My father died for it." Another counselor, a woman with sharp eyes, leaned forward. "Why are you here?" "To show you the truth," Kayla said. The council laughed bitterly. Eli stepped forward, his voice sharp. "You've seen the ships. You've seen what they're willing to do. All she wants is a chance to stop it." Counselor Marrow frowned. "You expect us to trust her? After what the Reverie did in the last war?" "She's not her uncle," Eli replied. "She fought him, risked everything to escape." Another voice. "She carries something dangerous. That crystal, it could destroy planets." Kayla reached for the glowing gem on her chest. "Then let me show you what it really holds." The room dimmed. Kayla stepped into the center, raised her hand, and touched the core. Flash. A wave of soft light swept the chamber. And then, images. Not just holograms. Memories. Everyone in the room felt them. They saw the Reverie Palace before the war, Kayla as a child, standing beside her father. They saw Lord Theron's betrayal, the poisoning, the lies, the stolen crown. They saw Kayla escape, her people turning on her, calling her a traitor for choosing peace. And then they saw the war, cities burning, Reverie propaganda, humans blamed. But Kayla never gave in. She ran, hid, held the truth close to her heart. Until now. The memories faded. Silence fell. Some counselors wiped their eyes, others clenched their fists. But not everyone was moved. Counselor Drax stood. "What you show us may be true, but truth does not undo blood. Our people are dying. Our fleets are weak. If giving you to Theron ends this war." Kayla stepped forward. Her voice was low, but powerful. "You think giving me to Theron will bring peace?" She looked at every face in the room. "It won't." Her hand clenched into a fist. "Theron doesn't want me. He wants everything. He wants Earth. He wants your colonies. He wants to erase your species." She pointed at the screen behind them. "He sent the Krell to hunt me. He sent warships to surround you. If I'm gone, he'll attack harder." Eli stepped up beside her. "She's right. You're not choosing between war and peace. You're choosing between truth and survival, or silence and surrender." The council murmured. Marrow stood. "We will vote." They left the room. Kayla stood in silence, staring at the core. Her light had dimmed slightly. She was tired, more tired than she had ever been. Eli placed a hand on her shoulder. "You did what no one else could. You told them the truth. They might still reject it. They might. But now, they can't pretend they didn't hear it." Pics floated nearby, scanning. "They're broadcasting her speech across the colonies," Pics said. "Civilians are watching. People are rallying. They're calling her the Starborn Princess." Kayla blinked. "I don't want to be their symbol." Eli looked at her. "You already are." An hour passed. The council returned. All eyes were on Marrow. He looked at Kayla, his voice heavy. "We have made our decision." A long pause. And then, "The Council of Humanity stands with the princess." Outside, alarms screamed again. Pics projected a warning. "Reverie invasion forces breaking orbit. Estimated time to surface, 30 minutes. Kayla looked to the sky. "It's time," she whispered. Eli nodded. "We have ships. We have soldiers. We have your truth." Kayla turned to the council. "Then let me lead." She stepped forward, regal, glowing once more. "I may be Reverie by blood, but today I fight with humanity." The room stood still for a moment. Then Counselor Drax, the one who had doubted her most, stepped forward. He removed a small emblem from his uniform, a silver star, and handed it to her. "Then fight with this," he said. "Commander Kayla of the Human Reverie Defense." Kayla took it, and in that moment, a new alliance was born. Not of worlds, but of belief. Far above, aboard his warship, Lord Theron watched the screen with rage. They chose her. He crushed the edge of his throne with one hand. Then they will fall with her. He turned to his generals. "Begin full assault." And with that, hundreds of Reverie warships powered up and descended. Humanity rises. The sky above Earth's outer colonies turn black. Not from nightfall, but from warships. Hundreds of them, Reverie dreadnoughts, cruisers, and swarm fighters, blocked out the stars, forming a net of destruction around the human world. On the largest warship, Lord Theron stood in silence, watching the blue and green planet below. "She chose the humans," he said softly. "Then she will die with them." He raised his hand. "All ships, begin descent." The final stand begins. Inside the Nexum Prime Defense Tower, alarms screamed. Generals barked orders. Screens flickered with images of enemy formations. Fighters launched from underground bays. Defense satellites powered up. In the center of it all, Kayla stood in silver armor. Part Reverie design, part human tech. The core crystal on her chest glowing bright and steady. Eli stood beside her, holding a rifle, his jacket torn, face cut, but his eyes burning with purpose. "Final call to all colonies," the command AI announced. "Stand by for planetary defense engagement." Kayla took a deep breath. "They're not just coming for me," she said. "They're coming to erase your people, just like they tried to erase mine." She turned to the holographic screen displaying the United Colonies' military commanders. "I offer you something my father once offered the galaxy: unity." She reached to her chest and activated the core. Light pulsed across every channel, into every human base, ship, and screen. Soldiers across different colonies saw her image. Some gasped, some saluted. "I was hunted," Kayla said. "Rejected. Betrayed. But I found a home among humans. And now I will fight for that home." Her voice sharpened. "If you believe in truth, if you believe in standing up against tyranny, then fight with me. Not as Reverie, not as human, but as one people." A pause. Then a voice from the command deck. Fleet commanders responding. "They're ready." Another voice. Civilians volunteering for defense crews. And another. "Shipyards in Sirius sector coming online. We've got reinforcements." Eli turned to her, a grin tugging at his lips. "Well, you just woke up half the galaxy." Kayla smiled. "Then let's make sure they remember today. The battle for Leora begins." As the first wave of Reverie fighters entered the upper atmosphere, human strike teams met them head-on. Explosions lit up the sky. Eli flew in the gunner seat of an interceptor, targeting enemy drones. Pix, plugged into the system, handled evasive moves. Kayla led a squadron of modified fighters, her energy signature guiding her soldiers like a beacon through chaos. Enemy cruisers tried to descend, but newly awakened orbital satellites fired relentless ion beams, slicing ships from the sky. Still, the Reverie kept coming. Aboard his ship, Lord Theron grew restless. "She dares challenge me." He turned to his elite guards. "Prepare my descent pod. I'll face her myself." The ground war erupts. Enemy drop pods slammed into Nexum Prime's outskirts. Reverie warriors poured out, moving like shadows, silent and fast. Kayla landed near the front lines with her team. Energy flared from her hands as she struck enemy waves, blasting them back with controlled bursts. Eli fought beside her, rifle firing, teeth clenched. "Remind me why I'm doing this," he shouted over the chaos. "Because you're brave," Kayla said, throwing a Reverie into a wall. "Stupidly brave," Eli muttered, but kept fighting. The tide shifted. For every Reverie wave, humans responded with unity, courage, and Tech Kayla had helped improve. The final confrontation. Above the city, Theron's descent pod crashed into the street like a meteor. Kayla turned slowly. "I knew you'd come," she said. Theron stepped from the smoke, armored in obsidian metal, his eyes cold and hateful. "You stole my throne," he hissed. "You poisoned my people with your weakness." "No," Kayla said. "You poisoned them with your lies." He raised his blade, ancient and black. "I will erase you myself." They clashed, energy against steel. The battle shook the ground. Buildings cracked. Soldiers cleared the area. Kayla struck with light and truth, her core shining like a second sun. Theron fought with rage, his power fueled by conquest. For a moment, they were evenly matched. But Kayla reached deeper, not into strength, but into memory. She whispered her father's name. The core flared. Theron staggered. Kayla struck the final blow. A blast that sent Theron flying, his armor shattered, his blade gone. He landed hard, broken and gasping. Kayla stood over him. "It's over." Theron's eyes darkened. "You were always weak." "No," Kayla said softly. "I just refused to become you." She turned her back, and Theron's form faded into ash, the final weapon of his own madness devouring him. The galaxy watches. Across the stars, the battle was broadcast. People in colonies, space stations, even revered fringe worlds watched Kayla rise. Not as a tyrant, not as a queen, but as a bridge. The aftermath. Eli sat on the edge of the crater, bloody but smiling. "You're full of surprises, princess." Kayla sat beside him, exhausted. "I'm not a princess anymore." He nudged her shoulder. "Then what are you?" She looked at the rising sun over the broken city. "I'm someone who believes in second chances." She turned to him. "Just like you did." Final broadcast. Weeks later, Kayla stood before a newly united council. Human and Reverie leaders side by side. "Peace is not given," she said. "It is chosen, again and again, even when it's hard, even when it hurts." The galaxy listened, and for the first time in generations, it chose peace.